For anyone new to this channel, my name's Vince. In my full-time job, I work with businesses to develop effective leadership and build exceptional teams. But that's not where I started off. For a long time before that, I was part of a different company doing a similar job. I work with businesses, I work with managers and leaders, but delivering something a little bit different. Then 2 years ago, I posted my first video on social media, and it was the start of a different path in my life. And 4 months ago from filming this video, I was able to branch out on my own and set up my own company, which is what this channel is about. How, as a millennial, so I'm 37 now, with a wife, 2 kids, a mortgage, and a lot of responsibility and risk attached to doing it, how was I able to do this? So this whole channel is about what led up to the point of me being able to set up my own business and how is it going since then? Because if you're a millennial, or at least someone certainly between the age of 25 and 50, and you're thinking, I don't want to be working for someone else anymore, I want to set up my own business, I want to carve out my own path in life, I'm just not exactly sure how to do it, this is what the channel is all about. So in this video, what I want to talk about is social media. For me, it is my primary marketing tool. Why? Because it's free. It requires very little effort on the whole. It requires almost no upfront cost. Certainly if you have a phone, then that's the majority of it done already. And yet it's able to put your brand in front of potentially millions of eyes on a daily basis. Something that legacy media is just not able to do in the same way. Now that's not to say that legacy media doesn't have its place. Adverts on TV, radio, adverts on the internet, brilliant still, but there's something that is just organic and tangible about social media that I think younger generations in particular are focusing on and leaning more heavily towards. So what I want to talk about in this video is how I grew a following of well over 250,000 people in an unpopular niche. And I think this is really important to say. What I talk around, certainly around management, most people don't like it. They don't go onto social media to find this information. Most people are after an escape from reality. They want to be entertained. They want to be able to switch off. So if you're not in that niche and you're not doing something around entertainment, you've got to put out something that is enough to get someone to stop when they're looking for something else. And so I think the most important thing to say first and foremost is that most social media gurus, certainly on TikTok and Instagram, do not know what they're talking about. And I know that sounds harsh. However, most of the tactics that they talk around are only useful for 2 things. Number 1, growing an account that is talking about growing accounts on social media, so it kind of feeds back into itself. And number 2, heavily targeted to people that are really struggling at the start. Here's an example. Make sure that you put text somewhere off the screen that increases SEO. It makes no difference whatsoever. Okay, I'll say that again. Doing something like that will not grow your account any more than anyone else. The single biggest factor in whether your social media content will be successful or not is a bitter pill to swallow. It's something I struggle to accept for the first 3 months in particular. And that is, you have to create content that provides value to someone else. If content does that well, that's when you see social media growth. Now, one of the biggest barriers to getting there, and I still suffer with this myself, is thinking that your content is better or more valuable than it is, or not giving it enough time to gain some traction. You will almost never see an account that on its first video blew up. There are exceptions to that, but they are almost always in entertainment. Something shocking, something scary, something weird and wonderful that people haven't seen before. If you're looking to develop your social media presence for your business, you're probably not going to pick those tactics, which means it's going to take time to gain some traction and find what works and what doesn't, and for the algorithm to find who are the right people to be pushing it to, and just to kind of get used to delivering content on a regular basis. So I promise you, what you need to do is ignore all of the social media gurus and just create content. aim to put out a video every day, if it's short form at least. If it's long form like this, then once a week, actually probably twice a week to begin with, because you'll find you'll clear out the cobwebs compared to someone that just puts it out every now and then. So if I use myself as an example here, what I talk about on social media wasn't the first place I started. I talked about a few other things to begin with, and I didn't see them through. Could they have been successful had I stuck with them? Maybe, but I wanted instant success. And when I didn't get that after the first 3 or 4 weeks, I kind of lost interest in it and I lost momentum, and then I didn't end up putting anything more out there. With this one, I decided to stick with it even when I wasn't seeing results straight away. So the first place I started talking around leadership and management was on TikTok, and it took me 6 weeks to get my first 1,000 followers. How many of those were real people? No idea. They could have been all bots. But it was 6 weeks of posting one video every day. So what's that? 42 videos to get 1,000 followers. Now, when you put it into those numbers, it doesn't sound that much. 42 roughly 60-second videos. The problem is, it sounds great when you know it's a success. If I said, I can guarantee you that you will hit 1,000 followers after your 40-second video, you go, great, let's do 42, because you know that you're going to get the outcome. When you're doing videos and you have no idea whether it's working, to still do 42 videos takes quite a bit of commitment, certainly one that I didn't have at the start. And I think that's probably what puts most people off, is they don't know what outcome they're going to achieve, even though they're deciding to put in some effort. So you've got to ignore all of those thoughts and feelings that you have of it's going to be a success straight away. I'm going to get great engagement. What I'm putting out there is of amazing value, because it may well be. It may well be. But at the start, it's going to struggle to get the numbers that you want unless you're a unicorn. Granted, there are content creators out there that do it within 75 videos and they've got 1 million followers. They're few and far between, and usually they are either talking about how to generate wealth for you or something around entertainment. So I hit 1,000 followers after 42 videos or 6 weeks. Then the progression from 1,000 to 10,000, I expected to kind of really rock it up, but it didn't. It was still hard work. It was still slow going. And what I found, certainly with my niche, which again is not particularly popular, it goes up and down really quite intensely. There are some weeks, even now, 250,000 followers later, that I really get very little engagement. I put out videos that I think are going to be really catchy and people are going to enjoy, and they just don't seem to for whatever reason. And then others I think, do you know what, go on, chuck that out there, and they do really well. So sometimes there isn't quite rhyme or reason to it. I think a lot of it is very dependent on who happens to watch within the first 60 minutes. If you're lucky and it happens to land with those people that are on their screen at that moment, then you see a bit of a boost. Other than that, it is a little bit of luck. But within those first 50 to 100, even more certainly again if it's short form, you will begin to find the style that works for you, the type of look, the aesthetic, the information, your delivery style will all begin to kind of turn into a brand and a package. And what I recommend doing then is sticking to that. When you try and change it too much, different locations, different looks visually, different topics, you're going to struggle unless you are already known for something else. So let's say you've already written a book, you're already well known in your industry. You can certainly get away with doing video and content in any space, anywhere, any shape or time. But if social media is part of your getting going strategy, I would certainly think around what type of brand you're trying to put out there, not just in the content in terms of the actual ideas or material, but also what it looks and feels like, so that people get used to when they're scrolling through quickly, oh, that's one of their videos, I'm going to stop and watch that. Now, if the ins and outs of social media is a topic you want to know more about for your business, let me know in the comments and I will make more videos on this, because there is a lot of information that we can go through. Now, I know this video isn't particularly long, but it's really to labor the point that if you are growing a social media account for your business, whether it's you as an individual or whether it's a business account, What you need to do is be super consistent and really try and focus on trying to provide free value to customers. And this is the point I want to finish on. It is so helpful to provide free value because what you're doing is showing this is how you solve a problem. Contact me if you want help implementing it. Most companies, most individuals do not want to put in the work to solve a problem. They want to pay someone to solve it for them. So if you can show this is how you solve your problem, pay me and I will do it for you, that's when you see customers starting to line up. They see your knowledge, they see your expertise, they see the value that you can provide to them, and this is how you're going to solve the problem for them.